the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AV Nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MHO show. My name's Chris Netto. I am one of the hosts. I am joined by my co-hosts, as always, down in the middle of nowhere, wearing a funky hat and a fake beard. Mike, how are you?
Good evening, Chris. I am doing very well, just trying to stay low-key and hide from the entire world right now, apparently.
How's life on the SS Minnow? It was a 3-hour tour. Excellent, excellent. Melissa, how are you doing down in Atlanta?
Hey, life is large down here in hot Atlanta. Not obviously as good as it is on the SS Minnow, but that's okay.
Well, when you're not on your yacht, you're out watching Mike get lost in the middle of the ocean now, wherever that may be.
It's pretty much
apparently.
It's as big as a city, this ocean that you're on, which is kind of great. Anyway, so we're back today, and we are talking, actually continue talking about CEDIA. It's coming up this September down in Dallas, and we're specifically today going to focus on the education because Melissa, who is our resident smart person when it comes to the education in the AV world, is going to tell us all about some great stuff she heard about. And we're going to play a game today. Melissa's going to drop the title or the name of some of these classes, and me and Mike are going to go give you our humble opinion. How's that? And Melissa will throw in hers as well. So, Melissa, I will send this down to you.
Awesome, Chris. Okay, so as being the resident education person who really loves classes and whatnot, there's some really cool stuff that I saw at CEDIA. So let's throw out creating profits from huddle room installations.
At a Resi show.
At a Resi show.
That's the first thing that pops into my head. That means that somebody at a residential show has found light commercial to be an interesting topic and maybe possibly even a business model. Am I right, Mike?
Okay, I didn't see that one coming.
That's
a bit of a surprise.
This is part of the game. Melissa's going to surprise us with these classes that are coming up. Now, we've had this at Infocom, these type of classes on huddle spaces, but never on how to run a business based on doing huddle spaces, because huddle spaces for
this is one of the things. This is one of the things I love about the way CEDIA approaches education. Let me throw another one at you.
Sure.
Future technologies, the inside slate. Okay? So that's
I'm signed up. I'm ready. I'm already there.
Okay, so here's what I really like about this class. When you register for this class or you look at the note, those notes, it says, if you take this class, by the way, there is a follow-up class that's called Design Thinking and Client Discovery Workshop. How to implement these new technologies in a cutting-edge design. First, they're going to tell you about all these great new future trends, but secondary to that, they're going to offer you a class, a workshop, to actually teach you how to implement them.
Sign me up.
Come on, that's pretty cool.
I like that.
So we're talking practical training for implementation?
It's a workshop, so that's what it sounds like. And they're saying that they're going to actually teach you how to use these new technologies in your designs.
Wow, that's interesting. That's unique to what we're used to seeing for training. That's for sure.
I love seeing the partnership of here's a class that teaches you cutting edge. Oh, by the way, now we're going to actually show you how to implement it. I think that's an awesome idea.
That's called following through. I like that.
Go figure.
Interesting. What else you got?
Let's see here. Then we've got a deep dive into UHD, Blu-ray HDR, and wide gamut video. Huge topics. I like the deep dive. I think the HDR and the wide gamut, we're not talking about that enough, and I think there's a lot of stuff coming that's going to affect that.
Wide gamut. The only gamut I know is an X-Men. So that's unique to me. I think that's very interesting. I'm surprised that they didn't include full-on 4K as part of that conversation as well, since they're starting it with UHD.
Well, UHD would suggest 4K, but I think that they may also be looking at moving past 4K on to 8 and 16K. My guess is they're probably ready to already go there. That's just my humble opinion.
Sure. Well, that's where they could use Melissa Dillman's how to transport 4K in a safe, secure manner and how to prevent 8K from falling apart on you.
Yeah. They're also doing 4K UHD Demystified is another class, so okay. I like that. Here's one that I liked. Digital and remote IT services, trends, features, and security.
Whoa! Another one that's blowing my mind away. Really?
Yes,
That's
sir.
interesting. That kind of, you combine that with the huddle room space class, and we might have some new competitors. Ooh, I got fireworks going off behind me.
That's awesome.
No, that was the SS Minnow's flare going off. Just so everyone knows.
You tell Skipper to get back in here. What is he doing?
Someone else liked that class too. I'll tell you what, one of the things I noticed in going through their classes, I saw a lot of, it's sort of if you were to take NSCA and Infocom and combine them, in that there are a lot of classes about processes, a lot of business type courses, how to hire, how to fire, when's it time to let go. And interesting was, do you have an exit plan? I know we've talked about this internally amongst ourselves, several nice fireworks, several times about we have a lot of companies out there that don't have exit plans but are getting close to needing one as retirement approaches. I thought that was a great topic for these guys to address.
That is a topic that needs to be addressed on the commercial side, very much so as well.
You know, it's funny that you say this, is that I love the fireworks going on.
I do too.
It's great. It's just all out. It's all out flares going off. They really want him saved at this point.
We're sinking. We're going down.
That happened with the Titanic too. I saw they tried to light off some fireworks. Good luck. Hang in there, buddy. Get to that life raft first, no matter what they say. There's only 3 on board. Go for it. So what I'd like to, what I'm liking about this is that we're constantly on the commercial side talking about the influx of new talent and how to draw new talent, but yet the old guard is not leaving. And I think an exit strategy is just as important as the how to bring them in, because it's circular. You can't bring in all these new people, because then the people that are there are going to be like, well, where are we going? What are we doing? The direction of the company gets stale if there isn't some sort of succession plan. It makes a lot of sense, and I get what you're saying, Melissa. What you're saying about these business mixed with tech classes are interesting, because I think we've all been used to either all or nothing. NSCA has done the job of doing the business stuff on the commercial side, while Infocom has done it too when they do their AVEC, but not at the show. At the show, you get technical courses, you get manufacturers courses, and which are both very valuable. Don't get me wrong. Getting a manufacturer cert or getting manufacturer's training straight from the horse's mouth is great. Love that part of it. But I think that there's a value in these classes that you're talking about that are intriguing. These are classes that, if this was an online thing, it's clickbait, man. We're going right into that. Especially the people that are looking at this and reading it and going, I really need to know more about this sort of stuff. Because if it's practical knowledge, you're not going to go in there and become an internet security wizard overnight. Spending 3 days or 4 days at CEDIA, you're not going to learn this all in one shot, but at least it gives you some conversation tools to come back and have that conversation. And that is equally as important. Go ahead, Melissa.
Familiar with CEDIA's certification programs?
No, because I don't have it.
No, yeah, please fill me in.
So CEDIA is it's sort of follows sort of the same pattern. They have their baseline criteria, which would be certification, which is an electronic systems certified person. It's an EST. So they have that, and then they do specialties. So you can get a D for design for a designer. You can get a T for a technician. That ESC is your baseline. Here's the one that got me. They also have a networking specialist as a specialty certification past the initial EST.
It's not a new course.
ESC, I'm sorry.
And you're going to tell me that they've been doing this for about 3, 4, 5 years now?
I don't know how long it's been around, but I thought it was very interesting that they have taken that step.
That is very forward thinking of them. That's actually a very smart thing for the commercial side to consider, especially since we are always facing more complex networking situations. Not to critique anything that's going on in the residential world, but obviously, you know, a major Fortune 500 company is going to have a far more complex networking setup than, say, you know, the mansion down the street or the home theater. So I think that's definitely an area where we can learn from that and really improve and focus on that. That's outstanding that they're doing that.
To add to what you're saying, Mike, is that this is a good precursor to show that there is a need for something bigger. So these type of classes going in there and causing, you know, creating that buzz to, wow, it was a well-attended course. A lot of people came out of there talking, well, will only lead to bigger and better things and possible, you know, actual certifications or higher level network certifications on the commercial side, which are going to be necessary. So go ahead, Melissa.
I really like, too, if you look at the way they do their certifications, they lay out a roadmap for you and tell you exactly what webinars, what resources apply to each section. So, you know, if they've had a webinar that applies to something within the networking criteria, then they put that link right there as you're looking for how do I get the certification. It's a pretty well thought out, nicely laid out program. So I have been very impressed with what I've seen so far.
Looks to be really cool. Mike,
I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
If you guys have never been to a CEDIA show, which I know you two haven't, I'll tell you that the CEDIA show is much more relaxed, I guess, than what the shows that we're used to going to. So back in the day, 15 years ago or so, I would go to the CEDIA show. It was the first show I went to. They had beer on the floor in the afternoon right away, long before we started doing it at InfoComm shows. Not saying it makes for a better show, just saying, you know, between
It's
that
there
and
and
you can go see,
Beer
you can go
and
see the Dallas.
I was just going to say beer and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. That's pretty impressive.
And don't forget that mechanical
I'm just
bull.
saying, Dallas, the Mechanical Bull, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, meet and greet on the 17th, and beer on the floor. Come on, guys. All this education, why are we not there?
Sounds pretty good. So let's wrap up this show. Melissa, on your education front, you're pretty impressive. Obviously, you are pretty impressed with what they're doing. Some of these topics look pretty special, something that we haven't seen or heard of. You know, it'd be something maybe for webinars, but personally I'd love to be able to see and attend these things in person to hear more about it and see who these people are that are actually talking about this. That's the other key part to this. You know, what kind of people are training? Maybe that's something we can dive into on a later show, or maybe that's something conversation that we may actually have with Mr. Bruno, who is the CEO of the show and who was gracious enough to give us some insight as to what's going on for 3 people that typically don't attend a CEDIA show. So, Melissa, what is your final wrap on education with CEDIA and CEDIA 2016's educational offerings, for that matter?
So I'm loving what they have available. They also, one of the interesting things is that they do a series called CEDIA Talks, which are based off of the TED Talks, or maybe they were based off of our show. I don't know. But they're supposed to be about 20 minutes. and they're free. You know, so they're right in our price range. So those are available at the show as well. I know that last year I watched on YouTube their keynote speaker, so I think we'll see some of that come out as well. Long story short, CEDIA is in Dallas, Texas this year, September 13th through the 17th, and because you're friends with MHO, CEDIA has graciously offered our listeners a $250 pass for free if they use the registration code CEDIA16-MHO. So I think we should check it out.
Yeah, sounds good. Mike, what are your thoughts on all this information that we just dropped on you like a firework?
Yeah, I did not expect to hear some of those topics, and as a big proponent of training in the industry, my organization focuses very heavily on training and developing our employees. These are some very interesting courses that I'm going to need to consider moving forward, and I think anybody that's in the commercial side should be thinking about, at the very least, the topics that are being discussed, if not attending yourself and sending people to represent your organization. So very impressive stuff. Melissa, thank you for doing all that research and bringing everything to the show, because I think it's kind of mind-blowing to some degree. Thank you.
If in 15 minutes we were able to give you some eye-opening conversation pieces or something to think about, especially on this side of the business, because typically the people that are going to be listening to us are people on the commercial side, and we get that. If we just said something that impressed you for the residential side by what CEDIA is doing, think about that. Think about the classes that Melissa said. And you know what? You can hit up Melissa on Twitter. She can give you those information or give you the links to that information as well, because we have those. Those are classes you can register for. And, man, if there's one thing that I would love to see, and I said at the last show, I would love to see somebody doing the live periscopes and the live video feeds out of some of these things. If these classes are free, you have all the authority to go out and stream it live. I'd love to hear what some of these things are. So we're going to go through and give our final where you can find us type thing. I'll start with myself. I'm Chris Netto, Chris_Netto. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the interwebs. And feel free to drop me a line if you'd like. Melissa, how can people find you?
I believe we may have lost Melissa.
I think we lost Melissa. So, Mike, go ahead and say your goodbyes.
Well, I will say that you can find Melissa also at melissa.dillman@comcast.net, so feel free to reach out to her there as well. Right now, I'm hoping the Coast Guard can find me somewhere in the Caribbean, because ship is sinking. But thanks for listening tonight. You can find me online at Twitter at AXPMike, and we look forward to the next episode.
Sounds great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the MHO Show.